Well, welcome, welcome. As he said, my name is Nancy Ross. Gee, it sounded so impressive there. The only way that they would let me do this year, actually, is if I promised not to do what I did last year. So, no drama here today. Hopefully everybody can hear me. I'm pretty loud. You may want to move forward a little bit. It might make it easier for you. But this morning I'm going to be talking about job search in the 21st century. That actually was the title that I used last year. But there's been changes. OMG, I can't tell you. The job search situation, the whole program is flipping. Let's talk about this, because what I'm seeing, what people are coming into our work ones and asking for help with is stuff that doesn't work, because it's what they've been doing their entire lives. If they've ever had to look for a job, they're doing the same thing they did before. And guess what, kids? Old school don't roll. It does not work anymore. It's time to step up. It's the 21st century, and I'm just going to go through some of the changes that occurred since last year this time. For instance, we're seeing more and more people who have never been out looking for a job before. In fact, I had one guy in one of my workshops. He's been in the workforce for over 25 years. He said, I've been out of work for 2.5 years. I've never had to apply for a job before. I don't know how to look for work. In the past, he came out of school, he did one application. After that, it was phone calls. The recruiters would call him, he'd call an employer. It was all done over the phone, bada bing, bada boom, he had a new job. So, doesn't work like that anymore. Oh, not at all like that anymore. So, you're going to have to start giving some thought to what you used to do and what's actually going to work. For instance, on the postings, in the olden days, 99, 2000, if you were out of work, what did you do? You'd go to the newspaper, you'd get the classified section. It was a nice, thick, help wanted section, and you just go through, peruse, and maybe call one or two people, fill out an application, and boom, you had a job. If you look at the help wanted section, see, stays what? A page, half a page. If it's on the weekend, maybe a page and a half. I'm going to round up really high there. That's not where the jobs are posted anymore. People are coming to terms with, oh my goodness, I am going to have to actually use a computer to find employment. Possibly. Not actually the best way to find a job. But we'll talk. But this is where a lot of the jobs are going to be posted. This is going to be part of your job search regardless, whether there's an actually, going online, finding an employer's website, doing their application. You're still going to need the computer, because in fact it is the 21st century. In the past, the competition, it seemed stiff at the time. It really did. I mean, there might be 20, 25 people going after one position. In this day and age, if a job is posted in IndianaCareerConnect.com, which is the job search engine for the state of Indiana, they're getting anywhere from 150 to 500 people applying for one job. Now, if you're applying for jobs off of Monster, Career Builder, Brass Tacks, any of those kind of websites, the competition jumps up to like 5,000 for one job. In fact, I had a guy in one of my workshops, he said he had an HR buddy who had just posted a job in Monster, on Monster. He got over 100 resumes within the first 30 minutes of posting that job. Competition is stiff. Competition is very stiff. That's why you can't do what you've always done. You need to step up. Labor market information. Let me just give you kind of a heads up on what is actually going on. These numbers I pulled off the internet this morning. This is on IndianaCareerConnect.com. You go to labor market information, and I'll give you this kind of numbers here. For instance, in the St. Elkhart County, current jobs available posted online, 2,188 jobs. In St. Joe County, we're doing a little bit better, 4,245 jobs. This is why when people say, and I hear this, well, there are no jobs out there. Well, liar, liar, pants on fire. Yes, there are. There are thousands of jobs out there. Okay, so what's the problem? Here's the problem. Candidates available in Elkhart, 34,550 actively seeking employment for 2,188 jobs. St. Joe County, it's not quite as bad, 36,849 people off 4,000 jobs. But it's still pretty darn stiff competition. That's why you're not finding employment. That's why doing what you've always done doesn't work. Because there are a lot of people out there that have come to the realization you need to step up. In the 21st century, you can't just slide like we always have in the past. You got to bring it. You got to bring your A game. Okay. One of the first things you may have to. This is painful for some people, but you're going to have to digitalize. Yeah, I cannot say that word. Good morning. Hello. Okay. You're going to have to get digital because employers are digital. And they are going to be looking at digital resumes, digital applications. They're going to be checking you out up one side, down the other online. You have to be there. You have to have a presence online. Does this mean you have to be a computer expert? No, not necessarily. Well, if it's your job, yeah, but you do need to be out there, though. You have to be comfortable with computers. Just basic computer skills. We have a number of workshops available at all of our work ones. If you're not comfortable using a computer, come on down. We're not going to make you an expert, but you're not going to break into a cold sweat and call it the demon's box, which, yes, I actually had somebody say that to me. I'm not touching that. Basic computer software programs, employers expect this now. It may not be part of your job, but they still love the idea that you're coming to the table with a little bit more than they actually bargained for. Everybody who's out there has got a massive number of skills. This is just one small section, but you need to be able to offer that to employers. They need to know that you're comfortable with technology. Basic internet skills, because that's where so many of the jobs are these days. You're going to be asked to submit your resume via email. You're going to ask to copy paste it on an application online. You're going to be looking for work at employers' websites, matching to jobs on job search websites. Now, this is not the only way to find employment, by the by. In fact, I had one person tell me, you know, I spend 9 hours a day in front of my computer and I can't find a job. Well, duh, that's not where, I mean, it's one part of your job search, but it doesn't have to be the entire job search. It's not the best way to find employment. It's just one of the ways. And besides, once you get a handle on this technology, once you have this stuff under your belt, where again, you're not breaking into a cold sweat when somebody says, here, do this, it's going to make your job search so much easier. Oh my goodness, yes it is. And you also, again, you've increased your skills base. You're coming to this new employer, prospective employer, with a larger number of skills than you left your old employer at. Woo! They love that kind of stuff. So you need to build these marketable skills. As I say, most people don't take credit for half the skills they actually possess. But if you continue in this time while you're job searching to increase your skills base, you are far more attractive to employers. First thing you need to do is Google yourself, because trust me, employers are. They are going to Google you. And no, they don't have to be your friend to see, you know, they keep changing those privacy settings all the time. Well, first off, there's your profile picture. We do not recommend the wet t-shirt winning contest picture out there. I mean, I'm just saying, you don't want that to be the employer's first visual of you, all right? But anything that is out there, they will have access to whether they are your friends or not. People don't realize how to work those privacy settings very well, especially if you're not that familiar with the internet. They can go on there, okay, maybe they don't see every comment that you've posted, but they have access to all of your pictures. Yeah, all of them, all of them, all of them. And they also can see who your friends are in some cases. Your likes are likes. I like the young Republicans. I like the young Democrats. I love the South Bend Conservatory of Music. I like young communists. I like young, whoa, hello, what? You don't always think of that. You don't always think of that when you're out there. You're having a good time, what the heck? Google yourself. This is one of the first things they will probably do if they're halfway interested in you. There is no privacy anymore. One of the breakout sessions today, you're going to have your eyes open to what's going on out there. You need to be very, very cautious. It's not just a good time anymore. Get an email account. Okay, it has to be your own. I've seen, it's really kind of breaks my heart a little bit when, well, here, send it to my wife's email at her job. No. First off, your wife is going to lose her job if she uses her business email for her own personal uses. And do you really want employers responding to Susie.Smith at the ABC Corporation when they are trying to get a hold of you and you're not Susie? Yeah. Get your own, keep it professional also. This is another real eye-opener. Oftentimes, employers, this is going to be one of their first things when they see that email address. So Super Pimp Daddy is not going to be at yahoo.com, is not the ideal route to go. These things are free, okay? Set up a job searching email. That sounds professional, okay? It actually makes your life a lot easier because everything that goes to that email address you know is concerning your job search, okay? And if you happen to blast that wet t-shirt winning contest to all your contacts yeah, it's not going to go to the employers that you've applied to. But do keep it professional, make it your own. You don't have to have a computer at home. You don't have to have access to the internet at home. We have computers at work one. Libraries have computers. All you need to do, sometimes your kids will even let you use their computers. All you need to do is get to a computer that can access the internet and you can get to your email. I know it seems so simple if you've already gone digital, I guess you could say, but for somebody who's not been out there, who's never had to deal with this before, it can seem kind of overwhelming. It's not. Computers are easy. Oh my gosh, they are such a good time. Where else do you get to tell somebody to do something and it has to do what you tell it to do every time? Whether it wants to or not, it has to do what you tell it to because you're the boss of the computer. I love computers. All right, moving right along here. You need to also start online networking. You need to have a presence out there. Not just your, Facebook stuff, not just, the DUIs and all the other divorce notifications that can end up out there on the internet. You need to have something that is part of your job search, where employers will see your name, where you can stand out and actually communicate how fabulous you are to the employers. Without doing this, you just can't fly under the radar anymore. You have to be visible. They have to be able to find you out there. And you want them to find all of the good stuff, okay? LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, these are part of your job search. And if they're not, they should be. They should be, okay? Also, look where the jobs are. Now, I'm kind of partial, I gotta say. I am partial to IndianaCareerConnect.com. This is a job search engine. The comment from the person who told me they were spending 9 hours looking for a job on the computer every day, and you don't have to do that. That's job searching hard. Job search smart. And Indiana Career Connect can help you with that because it has a job search engine built in, so it will match your qualifications, all of the skills that you've indicated you've had, to the jobs not only posted on Indiana Career Connect, but it goes out online and it will check Monster, Career Builder, Brass Tacks, government websites, hospital websites, educate recruiters, employer. It will do that for you. Come on over to the Lazy Dog School of Computing, okay? Search smarter. Search smarter, not harder. Make it easy on yourself. In fact, you can set up ICC, and I'm not sure you may be aware of this, so forgive me if I'm a issue with you. But you can set ICC up to job search whether you have the computer on or not. It's called Virtual Recruiter. You say, find me this kind of job in this county, this shift, this amount of money, go. And it will look for you every day. And when you sign on to ICC, it'll say, hello, I think I found something. And it'll give you the opportunity to check it out. This is great. I love it. Like I say, this is job searching smart. It's not the only way. But it's a sure of a heck of an easy way to go. Also, job titles. Okay, that's what that means. Simply because so many people are locked into their occupational title that they don't realize how fabulous they are, how skilled they are, and how they can use those skills in different ways. Think of it this way. If an employer is signing the check, he can call that job anything he ding-dong wants to. We have an employer over in St. Joe County, big employer, 24/7, 365. They employ lots and lots of people. They have a building maintenance crew. They do floors, they do walls, they do laundry, they do kitchens, they do bathrooms, they make beds. They do minor repairs and that sort of thing. But they're not called custodians, they're not called janitors, they're not called housekeepers. This employer calls them environmental engineers. Yeah, I'm saying, right? Right. Now, you may never have held the title of an environmental engineer, which in all actuality, if you go on ONET online, it's a whole different thing than what they call it. But they're signing the check, so they get to call it anything they want. Okay? So, yeah, look at the skills. Look at the skills. Skills are so important. Employers tell us over and over again, when they talk to people or, you know, they look at everything, you know, they can't tell them what skills they have. Employers are not, it's not so much about the job title. It's what you can do for that employer. And you can take your skills so many ways. If you take the time to and stop thinking in terms of job duties and job skills. Okay? Skills are what allow you to execute the tasks of the job duties. You need to be able to tell an employer what skills you have. Because they can take those skills and twist them, tweak them any way they need to. All right? You need to get out and network. Social networking, online networking is part of it, yes, but that face-to-face networking where you can actually feel that chemistry, you build a relationship, a bonding situation going on there. This is how you find out about that hidden job market. Over 80% of the jobs that people get these days, not online applications, not submitting resumes, it's through networking. They talked to somebody who knew somebody who heard somebody was hiring, or heard somebody was going to be retiring and they were looking to fill this position. Hadn't made it out to the internet yet. They're still in the talking stages, but man, if you could get your information to that employer before it gets out, hello, much better chance of getting a handle on that job, getting in before everybody and their brother. It's those 36,409, whatever people numbers out there were, okay? Be seen, talk to people. This is how you find employment. I hope I'm not going to break any hearts here, but when you're asked to submit a resume or asked to submit an application, in actuality, in this day and age, a lot of employers are looking to screen you out of that applicant pool. They've got people who are desperately seeking anything. By the by, not an occupational title. Any is open, no, don't apply for any's or opens. But we've got truck drivers applying for registered nursing positions and vice versa. Why? They're desperate. They're looking for anything. When they ask you to submit a resume, they're looking for a way to screen you out. They don't want to read 500 resumes, look at 500 applicants. They don't want to have to do 5 if they really don't have to. Networking kind of circumvents all of that stuff too. You get in there before the game is on. Now, note to self, when you are out, you are on, okay? Some of the stuff that I see out, when you're out grocery shopping, doing laundry, putting gas in the car, that's an opportunity to network. Now that does not mean you wander around all day in a three-piece suit. But come on, kids, really? Really? Think of some of the outfits that you've seen out there at Walmart's. Yeah. I still don't understand footy PJs and Applebee's. I just don't get that. And I actually saw that. I was just taken aback. But, you know, think about it. Put yourself in that employer's place. Would you hire these people? If you were, you were talking to these folks and they say, oh yeah, I do that, would you go, wow, this is a serious consideration or not? Would you network with these people? Would you actually turn around and go the other way? All of the above, none of the above? You have to keep that in mind. Every time you leave your house, you are on. You are in an opportunity to network, the #1 way to find employment. Let's think about that for a minute, shall we? Yeah, maybe you'll brush your hair next time, right? All right. Update your resume. Oh boy, oh my goodness gracious. So many resumes I see are exactly, in fact, I have a feeling in some cases they are the resume that people put together when they graduated from high school. They just keep adding all the jobs, the next job on there. And so many times people will list the duties of the job. I can tell you this right now, if an employer has advertised that they're looking to hire a forklift driver, they pretty much know what a forklift driver does. So just listing those duties is not going to set you apart. It's not going to make you, leading edge, frontline, best choice option here. They already know what a forklift driver does. Tell them what skills you have. What sets you apart from all those other forklift drivers? What made you successful as a forklift driver at your last several jobs? Yes, you want to make sure that they know that you know the duties of the job, so you're going to mention these, but you don't have to list, signed signed invoices. Really? Emphasize your skills. In fact, if you can quantify your accomplishments, so much the better. A lot of resumes have a lot of fluff that are not measurable. So if you have a measurable result, it's meant to, listen to the difference between this. I reduced waste on third shift. I reduced waste by 15% on third shift. Whoa. All of a sudden they got something they can count on their fingers and toes. It's measurable. You know, I'm really good at that. As compared to who? I'm a hamster? You know, they don't know this. Give them something they can count. If you can throw a number in there, so much the better. And that's one of those things you never think about when you're actually doing it. Just so you know, this is something you need to start thinking about. Also, targeted focused resumes. Now, yeah, okay, if you're posting a resume in ICC, for instance, let's say, or Monster, or Career Builder, wherever it is, you're going to have a kind of generalized resume. But if you find the dream job at the company you've always wanted to work for, are you going to send that generic one-size-fits-all resume to them? Heck no. Why waste your time? Don't do that. Every job, every time, needs a targeted, focused resume that will demonstrate to that employer that you are the ideal candidate. Does that mean you have to start from scratch every time? No, come on, kids. Get digital, think digital. Your name doesn't change, your address probably hasn't changed, your work history's not changing, your education probably hasn't changed, your accomplishments, achievements, awards, none of that is changing. It's how you present it. It's how you present it. You want to give the perception of being the ideal candidate, the spot on check mark, check mark, check mark, everything they're looking for candidate. And you can do that with a targeted, focused resume. Not every job you've had in your life. I'm seeing people going back to the 70s in their resumes, and I'm like, why would you do this? Well, I wanted to contact. You don't have to put the job dates. There are other ways of conveying the information without making yourself seem like 197 years old, okay? They don't want to see everything you've done. They don't care if it's over 10, 12, 15 years old. The assumption is that that skill is outdated, the technology you used was outdated, but let's face it, customer service skills, do they get outdated? You know, if you worked at McDonald's when you were 17, you knew, even though they were cussing you out, you couldn't go across the counter and smack them. You knew that. You still know that. All right? Take credit for it. You're not going to put that McDonald's work history on there because it's probably more than 15 years, well, possibly more than 15 years ago. And if it's not applicable to the position you're applying for, then good customer service, every employer loves that skill. Internal customers, those are your co-workers. Are you able to work with other people? It's a great way of demonstrating that. Not everything you've done. Not every job you've had. You know, make it specific for that one job. I always tell folks, if you find a job that you want to apply for, print that puppy out. Get a hard copy. Look at the keywords they use. And you're going to use those keywords on your resume. You're going to make sure they know you have exactly what it is that they're looking for. You use the same terminology, for crying out loud. You're going to find out in some of these workshops, there's a number of websites that employers use. ONET Online is one of them. ACI Net, Career One Stop is another one. These are the websites employers use when they write the job descriptions and the job postings. Go online, find out what other names, what other skills might be applicable that they're going to expect to see. I always tell folks, you know, especially I think one of the best examples, IT, it's like they have their own language. It really is. And if you're not using that language in your resume, or you're using it, but you're using it incorrectly, it's a big red flag. It's a big red flag. But if you're using that generic one-size-fits-all, they're not going to know how great you are. Another thing that has dramatically changed is your resume has to be scannable. Okay? I kid you not. This is ginormous. It's the applicant tracking system, and again, the numbers are stupid, I think. More than 80%, I keep throwing that 80% out there, but this is what the numbers keep coming up. 80% of big business is using scanning software to scan your resume before a human being ever sees it. In fact, you could be the absolute best candidate for the job, but if you don't have the terminology that software has been programmed to find, a human being will never see your resume. Again, it's a way to eliminate people. Eliminate you. 5,000 folks, yeah. You want to make sure you get in. A human being will see it. This is one of the things that's become really, really hard. Like I say, if you could be the best candidate, But if you're not using the correct keywords, key phrases that they put in their job posting that they expect to see, you're out of luck. You may be out of luck. It's not worth taking the chance. You need to update your resume. You have to think in terms of branding. And I know you've heard this term bandied about. A personal brand. When they say forklift, they think your name. When they say marketing director, they think your name. Everybody knows what it is that you do, okay? This is your marketing tool. This is your commercial. This is your commercial. And if your commercial, if your ad doesn't work, you're not going to work either, okay? It's going to get you the interview. It's not going to get you the job. But if you can get in, I hear this, oh man, if I could just talk to them, I know they would hire me. Well, hopefully, yes. But you're not going to get the interview if you don't get past the tracking system, and if you can't pique their interest, if you can't demonstrate that you are the ideal candidate. And you also need to make sure that your resume is unique, because each and every one of you is unique. It's that combination of skills, the knowledge, the ability, the hands-on experience. Each one of you has a different level of different quantifiers in each of those areas that make you unique. Now, you don't want to tip over into weird, okay? Weird makes big business very nervous. But that combination, and you want to put it out there in an eye-catching format. You're going to want the terms that they're looking to see. You're not going to be using weirdo paper. You're not going to be using weirdo paper. Had one person was actually putting flags all over their resume. They had flags on either side of their name. They had a flag watermark. I mean, it was lovely, fresh off their color printer. We ran it through the copier a couple of times. It turned into this strange gray blobs, that watermark. It was like, what is that? Oh, you don't want to do that. You don't want them to pause and go, whoa, this is weird. Okay. So make it unique, because you're unique. Now, interviews, man, this is another place where we're seeing a lot more changes. There's a certain number of type of, if you have 5,000 people, and let's say you use that applicant tracking system to weed out the truck drivers and the registered nurses, you get it down to maybe, let's say 50 people that meet the record, meet what you're looking for. How do you handle, don't want to have to drag 50 people into the meeting or for an interview. So a lot of employers are going to phone interviews. These are tough. You can't build that nice eye contact chemistry that you can in that face-to-face, conversational type of interview. This is you have to be prepared to do a phone interview. The only thing they have to go on here is your tone of voice, the words that you use, the way that you put the phrases together. We always say smile. You can hear a smile over the phone. You really can. But you have to be prepared for this, because more and more employers are going this route. Then there's the group interview. Again, a great way to get rid of a lot of people in a very short period of time. It's like gladiators, actually. They literally pit you against your competition. Again, quick and easy. Usually it has to do with the type of job you're going to be doing, the occupation that you're applying for. Will you have to stand up and talk in front of a large group of people without a lot of preparation? Do you automatically assume a leadership role? Do people allow you to assume, or do you curl up in a little ball and kind of try to fade into the wall? Not a good fit for that particular job. So again, a quick, easy way to get rid of a lot of people very, very quickly. Panel interviews. Oh, this is them against you. Okay, you walk in, there's like 5, 7, 9 chairs on one side of the table and 1 chair here. And you're the 1 chair. Again, it usually has to do with the type of job that you're applying for, okay? They want to see how fast you can change gears. How quickly do you think on your feet? How often do you put your foot in your mouth? Because they have their own agendas, but they can get a lot of people, instead of having 5 one-hour interviews with you, they can have one one-hour interview with 5 people blindsiding you, catching you off guard, just to see how fast you and how well you handle the kind of questions. So you have to be prepared for that also. Behavioral interviews. Yeah. Tell me about time. The idea here is that if you were successful in the past, you will continue to be successful in the future. Please remember, employers, they need somebody right now, but they're also looking to the future. How are you going to benefit them in the future? It's all about the employer. Promise you, it is. It's all about that employer. So you have to bring your stories, your success stories. Where did you use your skills in a successful way, where it was a win-win bottom line? For employers, it's all about that bottom line. So you have to have your stories together that demonstrate you using your skills successfully for a previous employer. And let's face it, if you've been building your skills base since you left your last employer, you're even more valuable now. So there's a very good chance you'll be more successful. The situational interview format, this is where they set up a situation. Well, what would you do if you did this? And again, but there's actually a formula for the behavioral and the situational interview. It's called the STAR, where there's a situation or a task. They'll pose a situation or a task. What action would you take and what result would you expect? Situation or task, action you would take, result you would get. In behavioral, in this particular situation, this is the action I took, and this was a positive result, measurable result that I got. In a situational, what would you do if this situation arose? Well, let me see. This would be the action I would take. This would be the, how am I supposed to know what they're going to ask me? I don't know. Well, hello. If you're applying for a retail management position, they're probably going to ask you questions about retail management and using your skills successfully in that environment. So you can have a pretty good idea of what they're going to ask. And again, you're going to have your stories in place. You're going to be prepared for these things. You're not just going to be flying by the seat of your pants. Because what happens is you usually get dropped. And stupid stuff can come out of your mouth so easily. It really can. And then there's a stress interview. I'm sorry. All of them are stress interviews as far as I'm concerned. I am a horrible interviewer. I'd like to think I do a little bit better these days after 9 years of teaching other people what to say. But where the employers will specifically set up a stressful situation. Now, they're not just being mean, although it may seem like it at the time. They want to see how do you deal with stress. Again, do you curl up in a little ball under the table? Do you go with the flow? Do you go right off the deep end? I had one, I got to tell you this story. I'm sorry, I hope I'm not going to run over here. She came back after having taken this workshop. She goes, oh my gosh, I had one of those stress interviews you were telling me about. I'm like, well, tell me. I love telling stories. So she says, well, I went in, the guy had a beautiful office. Oh my gosh, he's huge picture window. He had his back, I was facing the window. And the whole interview, the whole time I was talking to him, there was this little bird hopping back and forth on that window. Oh my gosh, it was so stressful. Okay, well, thank you for sharing, But I need to apologize to that person because she's absolutely right. Imagine trying to focus your answers, trying to keep track of where you are, staying organized, and the whole time in your peripheral vision, there's this little freaking bird talking to it. The stress comes in all different shapes and sizes. That would have been a very stressful situation. You have to be prepared for it. But the beauty of it is you've prepared. You have your stories in place. You are the ideal candidate. You are the perfect person for that position. You're in the zone. You've got the answers all ready to go. You're good. Take a deep breath. Don't deal with the stress again. They want to see how do you deal with stress. Deal well with stress. All right. There are certain expectations that employers expect to see. That has a lot to do with the way you present yourself, the way that you are dressed. They also want to know that you're a team player, you're honest, knowledgeable, confident. If you're not confident, if you hesitate at all about your skills base, you're not confident, why in that world would you expect that employer to be confident that you're the best candidate for that job? You got to display confidence, not arrogance. Huge difference, huge difference. But be confident. Like I said, you are the best candidate, remember? And upbeat. Upbeat. I love that too. Enthusiastic. These are expected. This is baseline stuff here, okay? But if you happen to be any of these other wonderful, fabulous things, these are good things too. These really are good things. Understanding, trustworthy, bold, witty, informal, clever, loyal, creative, sensitive. These things, it's okay to be these things, by the by. These are positive things that employers like to see. These are the things that will make you a better team player. That demonstrates to them that you can work with a wide variety of people. You can think outside the box if that's what's needed. Okay? Polite. You betcha, baby. You betcha. Now, appearance is huge. I know. Business these days is far more casual than it's ever been in the past. Society is just. Yeah, some businesses have backed off a little bit, but I'm going to tell you right now, when you bring a professional image into that interview, you have already broken the mold. I had an employer who we pinned the poor man down and grilled him severely. He was doing interviews this one day when we happened to be in the area. And he was in a shirt and tie. He goes, you know what I'm seeing for interview outfits here? He says, I'm seeing, the interview outfit of the day was Crocs, cargo shorts, and a Megadeth t-shirt. Now, okay, granted the position was for working in a kitchen, a very casual kitchen, okay? But the guy, he worked in that kitchen also. He goes, you know what, I took the time and the trouble to put on a shirt and a tie. Seems to me the least they could do would be the same. Make that extra effort. Trust me, they notice. They notice. When you send that targeted focused resume, they notice. When you send a cover letter, they notice. When you dress for an interview, no, okay, 3-piece Armani suit for a forklift driving position, probably not. But I always have a little bit of a problem about when you, and everybody will tell you different, okay, this is my own expert opinion for what it's worth. You can dress for the job, and a lot of people dress for the job you're applying for. Well, let's face it, a lot of jobs you can wear sweatpants and a tank top. That is not an interview outfit. Neither are cargo shorts and a Megadeth t-shirt. I don't care what job you're applying for. That's not dress one step up, one level above minimum, okay? Again, if it's big business, they're very conservative, they like to see that extra effort. They like to see the extra effort involved. Now, like I said, not a 3-piece suit necessarily for every job, but men, your shirt should have a collar. Bottom line, at least a collar, not necessarily a tie. Think about it. Put yourself in that employer's position. Who would you choose? The guy that looks like he just rolled out of bed, or the one that put a little bit of effort? Brushed his hair, took a shower, clean clothes. Good stuff, all of it. Handshaking. This has gotten, one of those things. In certain businesses, yes, it is expensive. Banking, big business, sales, that sort of thing, a lot of the people-oriented ones. Medical, not so much. They're not big on handshaking. They know where those hands have been. So, you're not going to just snatch people's hands and start pumping away out. In fact, I I'm sorry, I tell stories so much, I'm sorry. But he said, guy shook hands with him, reached in his pocket, pulled out his hand sanitizer, I call it cootie juice, did his hands, and then offered the guy, do you want my sanitizer? Hello? It was very weird. So shaking is big, but however, listen to it. Prospective employers said they're more likely to overlook visible body piercings and tattoos in an ineffectual handshake. Now, how long have we been cautioning people about hide your tattoos, cover up your piercings and stuff. You got a decent handshake going on, could work for you really well. That's an actual survey of careerbuilder.com. Have a decent handshake, not one of those things, all right? But don't always expect to get a handshake. It's going to depend on the business, the occupation also. Some old school stuff does work still. In fact, goes around, comes around. It's been around cover letters, for instance. This is a great way to get your resume dumped before it ever gets looked at. It's considered professional. The assumption is, okay, you send that generic one-size-fits-all resume out for every job, right? Now, what if that employer has several jobs available? Okay, they have the chief financial officer, they have the bathroom cleaner, and they have the data entry clerk. Which of these jobs does this generic resume go with? Without a cover letter, they'll dump it. They don't have time to try to figure out which job you're applying for, okay? Cover letter tells them exactly which job you're applying for. It will tell them where you found the job and how you are that ideal candidate for that particular job. It's not rewriting your resume into one page. It's not. You're going to pique their interest. You want them to read your resume. That's where all the good stuff is. Get them to read your resume. Hit a couple spots. Let them ahead. Right? All right. So always send a cover letter. Again, unless they specifically say you don't. Always follow directions. That's number one. One of those skills employers like a lot. Something else has come back. Old school portfolios. Hard copy proof of all that stuff, that wonderful stuff that you put on. Yeah, that's true. I can prove it. Perfect attendance awards, you betcha, baby. Here they are. Several times. Remember, this is one of my personal bugaboos here. People never mention those perfect attendance awards. Think about this, kids. That straight up translates into dollar signs for an employer. If you're not mentioning that, you're doing yourself a disservice. If you've ever gotten an award, no accidents, dollar signs. Perfect attendance, dollar signs. It's a benefit. It impacts that bottom line positively. Any awards, your transcripts, just in case. They may not have mentioned it. It's on your resume, all right? Maybe you don't have a bachelor's or associates. You don't necessarily have to carry your high school diploma around with you. But if you've taken a couple of credit hours, I don't know, let's say IUSB. Let them know that. Hey, I got proof. Who's that Notre Dame football coach who's claimed he had a BA and 2 weeks later was out the door because he lied?
George O'Leary.
Yeah, there you go. He lied. You cannot lie on your resume. This is a portfolio, this hard copy back of any certificates. If you've indicated I've received specialized training, I've been certified on this particular machine, let them know that. References can go in there. Those letters, those wonderful thank you letters, all of that good stuff, put it in there. It all points to you as being fabulous. You're not going to send all that crapola with you when you send your resume, but have it to hand so that you can literally prove it. Here, this is true. I can do what I say I can do. I'm honest. Here's the proof of it. And thank you letters. Again, this is coming back. This is getting huge. In fact, this is changing even. I would say as recently as 6 months ago, when I would do our cover letter workshop, I'd say, now this is a business document, so you're going to make it look just like your business, so it's going to be letters and all this, but then left a line and paragraphs. Not necessarily so anymore. Actually, believe it or not, well, of course, there's the ever popular email. Can I send my thank you email? Well, yeah, you can. That's a big sweaty thing to do, right? Thank you for talking to me, send. Extra effort. What we're starting to hear, remember those olden days when we had those cute little cards? Yeah, we would handwrite it out and send it. Yeah, they kind of like that. Why? It's the extra effort. Snail mail, the envelope, the post, the stamp, the actual trip to the post office. Shows extra effort. Look at, basically what you're saying, look at the effort I go to. Look at all I've invested in this. And you haven't even, offered me the job. You're not paying me to do this. This is just the way I do it. I always go professional. I always go top of the line. I always do more than is expected. Just as an FYI, if you do the card thing, no rainbows, no glitters, no unicorns, big-eyed puppies, okay? It is business, but, and use your good handwriting. Good handwriting there, okay? Always do this. So this is one of those things, the numbers are increasing. Employers are starting to get more of these, but it's still woefully low. Woefully low. Take the time, make the effort. It will be noticed. Promise, it will be noticed. All right, bottom line is if you do, you need to be demonstrably, I've been fighting with that word ever since I put this workshop together, demonstrably the best candidate for the job. Absolutely no question. There's no if, ands, or but. They said, we need this. You said, I have this, and I've got this little bit of extra that's going to make me a much better employee than anybody else you're going to talk to. Best candidate, no question. And that extra effort, the research that you do on the company before you send the letters, before you send the resumes, before, the whole 9 yards, every bit of effort. You know going in what the company product is. You know what they do. You'd be astounded, again, at the number of people who, what do you guys do? And you're asking them to give you a check? Come on, step it up. Every effort, anything above and beyond the absolute minimum will be noticed. Why? Because most people won't do it. Yes, the job search is a lot harder. I never had to do this. No, but now you do. You want to stand out, now you do. And professional execution is expected on all fronts. Again, regardless of the occupation or the job, career, whatever it is that you're looking for. They expect you to be a professional. I don't care if you're shoveling sidewalks. If that's your job, that's your profession, you need to be professional about it. Every job, every time, on all levels. Yet again, it's going to set you apart. Because unless you make this extra effort, unless you work at finding employment, very good chance your resume, your application, everything will go right down the tubes. It'll just get trashed. because you didn't do it, but somebody else did. Yes, it's hard to find employment. Yes, it's a lot of work. Yes, it's a lot of stuff you've never had to do before. But if you want to find employment these days, you got to jump through the hoops. You do. You have to make sure that employer knows without any question. You are the ideal candidate. All right, here's a final thought. The future ain't what it used to be. Isn't that the truth? Oh my goodness, hello. We never expected. People out of work. Had a guy who's been out of work 2.5 years, like I said. Never had to go look for a job. People never had to do a resume. Never thought they would be out of work for any period of time. They've never been out of work in their lives, and now they are. Okay? It ain't what it used to be, so you need to adjust. You need to step up. All right, don't run off, because there's more. These are the breakout sessions, marketing yourself, job fair etiquette, because there's a job fair coming, in August, actually. It's more than just showing up. Again, a lot of people, they will just show up. You got the flip-flops on, and shorts. What do you guys do here anyway? Degrees to employment. Education, this is another thing. Employers love the idea that you have some kind of training. Did you, again, well, put yourself in their position. Do they hire this person with the absolute minimum, or do they hire this person for the same price with all this extra foofy stuff? They love that foofy stuff, okay? This is good foofy stuff, by the way. Using the internet to aid your job search, like I said, you got to digitalize. That was pretty close, wasn't it? Also for veterans, how to adapt your military skills to get a job in the private sector. Also, and then searching for job in manufacturing. Let's face it, that's where a lot of the jobs and a lot of people in this area are highly skilled in. It's different now. Thank you. Any questions? Yeah.